Blessings and welcome back, family, to another sign up session where we expose the work of darkness, restore what has been stolen to us by the enemy, and where we reclaim our authority in Jesus. Welcome back, Elizabeth. How are you doing today?
Hi, Wendy. I'm doing really well. How are you?
I'm doing great. I am super excited about our episode today.
Oh my gosh, me too.
So
It's so good to be back here too. It's been a while.
it has been a while. Let's talk about mind control. Almost everyone knows about the MK Ultra and the use of like LSD and the like for mind control, from hypnosis from the TV to subliminal messaging, which happens on a grand scale. But what if there is another way that that can happen on even a larger scale?
So I think a great place to start is just to give a better context and understanding of MK Ultra and the program itself before we dive into other possibilities. And so, for people who aren't aware, the MK Ultra project was a CIA operation, and I just wanted to read what Wikipedia says about it first.
Let's go.
And so it's just now a well-known fact that MKUltra was an illegal human experimentation program designed and undertaken by the CIA to develop procedures and identify drugs that could be used in altering human behavior. They used numerous methods to manipulate its subjects' mental states and brain functions, such as high doses of psychoactive drugs. And additionally, other methods beyond chemical compounds were electric shocks, hypnosis, sensory deprivation, isolation, verbal and sexual abuse, and other forms of torture. And that was just from Wikipedia. And I also found like a more details list of the actual evil that they were. And so, what Wikipedia didn't go into detail about is the extent of the torture that they put these people through. And sorry, I'm like shaking because just how disturbing and evil
Hmm.
that has just taken place here. And
Yeah, I totally get that.
so they weren't limited to just abuse and torture. They also put these people in confined boxes and buried them alive. They restrained them with ropes and chains, put them in near death situations and near drowning, exposed them to extreme heat and cold,
Sensory deprivation
sensory
is what they were.
deprivation.
Mhm.
They forced them to ingest offensive body fluids such as blood, urine, feces, and flesh. They hung them upside down. Uh,
Millstone, that's all I gotta say.
uh, absolutely. And so, yeah, that the extent of their evil is hard to talk about, but to bring up all of those examples just to give a clear context of the extent of evil that these people are capable of. And with that in mind, with the speculation that we're going to present today, I don't think it's that far-fetched that they are capable of doing this.
Yeah, absolutely. And so the name of our episode today is The Ancient Code of Mind Control, Cordyceps, Nephilim, and the Forbidden Blueprint. So we're going to be diving into parasitic mind control. And I pose the question, what if nature's zombie parasites weren't meant just for insects? So, and I use the term nature loosely because what we're going to be diving into is like some crazy concepts. I'm going to be saying alleged a lot and try to stay as YouTube friendly as possible. So we have to understand that there is the actual reality of a like zombie biology. And so we have the undeniable fact that nature already features complex mind control mechanisms. So I'm going to introduce the concepts of Ophiocordyceps universalis, aka the zombie ant fungus, and kind of explain how it bypasses normal survival instincts and forces an insect to climb up to a specific height, use a death grip, and uses the host's body as a vessel for propagation. Um, we're gonna start off by, watching a little, or actually, it's like a little short video, and I have, some articles and stuff to go over, so I hope you guys are, like, ready for this today because, we're gonna start here. Can you see the screen okay?
Yeah.
Alright, so, just showing how any fungus, it can control pretty much anything. We're gonna start off with, watching this fungus control a robot, and all of these sources, of course. Hold on a second. Naturally. Okay, so all of these sources, will be listed in the description, hopefully, so it doesn't, like, get us any type of copyright strike or anything like that. I'm gonna be referring to Nat Geo often, and that's where this article comes from, watching the, fungus control a robot. So, we have a starfish-like robot. Are you kidding me? Okay. Never fails. That contracts its 5 legs to inch across a wood floor, not powered by batteries or plugged into an outlet, but instead controlled by signals from mushrooms. If we come down here, we have this video, and this is like what it's showing. It's the mycelia responding to light cues. They send electrical impulses that tell the robot to move, similar to how our brain's neurons move our limbs. So we need to keep that in mind for like this presentation and everything that, we're gonna be going over today. And just like a little quick, if anybody wants to read this again, all of these will be in the description. But the researchers started by cultivating mycelia, the network of strands that connect mushrooms underground and allows them to communicate from king oyster mushrooms. The king oyster mushrooms are easy to grow and maintain, making them ideal for use in robots. The researchers cultivated the fungi and guided its mycelia to grow onto a 3D printed scaffold full of electrodes. Interconnected, mycelia give off electrical impulses in response to changes in the environment, like impulses in the neurons in our brains to give off communication with each other. So, because the mycelial network was connected to electrodes, its electrical impulses could communicate with a computer interface. And so, without going, so much further into all of this, it's just kind of giving you an idea, like our brain would be the interface and we have our communication going with the premise of all of this, right?
Mhm.
And so it poses the question, if nature already allows a mindless fungus to rewrite free will and behavior of a living host, what does that suggest about the blueprint of biological manipulation on a broader scale? And so we're going to get into and introduce the cordyceps and how why every single one. You know what? All right. So how a cordyceps fungus turns ants into zombies. I'm just gonna refer it to, just cordyceps because Ophiocordyceps, unilateralis is a mouthful, but it's a fungus, and it has just one goal: self-propagation and dispersal. To do so, the parasitic fungus hijacks ants' bodies, essentially turning them into zombies. Researchers think the fungus found in tropical forests begins its life cycle by infecting a foraging ant through fungal spores that attach and penetrate the exoskeleton. As the infection advances, the fungus compels the ant to leave its nest for a more humid microclimate that's favorable to the fungus's growth. The ant descends to a vantage point about 10 inches off the ground where it sinks its jaws into a leaf vein on the north side of the plant, assuming a death grip. So it's like very pointed directions that it's
Mhm.
giving this ant to do, which is incredible, not in a good sense, but it's just like it's very disturbing when you think about it on a grander scale, right? Um, so it says, meanwhile, the cordyceps fungus feeds on its victim's innards until it's ready for the final stage. Several days after the ant has died, the fungus sends a fruiting body out through the base of the ant's head, turning the shriveled corpse into a launch pad from which the fungus can jettison its spores and infect new ants. So, how it controls the ants, as in zombie lore, there is an incubation period where an infected cordyceps ants appear perfectly normal and go about their business undetected by the rest of the colony. That's unusual because social insects like carpenter ants usually have something called social immunity. Sick members get kicked out of the group to prevent the rest of from getting sick too. We think the ants don't really have a mechanism to get rid of Ophiocordyceps. So, with that being said, I want to share this little video that I have here from, again, it's Nat Geo, basically going over like what I read, but it's going to give us some visuals, and I'll probably be pausing it every couple seconds so that we don't get like a copyright strike. So you guys just bear with us, and we'll probably be talking over it. So if there's anything that like strikes out at you, like pause and let me know and I'll pause it, or we can just talk over it. I think I've got it turned down pretty good. So let's go.
Fungi and slime molds race to decompose dead matter on the forest floor. Many spread by releasing spores, up to 30,000 a second.
This is crazy. That's a lot.
It's incomprehensible.
Yeah.
Just one of these spores lands in the right place and takes root.
I promise all of this will come together at the very end. Well, even before the very end, so people can understand like what we're getting at today. It's fascinating
But
though.
not all fungi
Mhm.
feed on the dead.
That's like not all fungi feed on the dead.
Mhm.
We're living, we're living. I'm just saying. Anyway, let's continue.
Days ago, a spore landed on this ant. Now she's acting strange.
Societally speaking, I know people
In
that do
network
this.
of roots infiltrated her vitals. Her body has been taken over by Cordyceps.
This is like the inspiration for the thumbnail too.
Parasitic
Like,
Oh, is it?
yeah.
I haven't seen it yet.
It floods her brain with chemicals, drugging her,
Drugging her.
compelling her to head where conditions are perfect.
If you think about that in the sense of people like being sent in where conditions are perfect, like to cause chaos and upheaval, that's like exactly like what goes through my mind when I'm thinking about this. I'm replacing ants as people, you know what I
Mhm.
mean? Just like,
Well, it's true that like the human body can get infected with spores from the
mhm,
inside, and it,
yeah. The implications like are insane, right? It's like, bruh. I like how the captions all scary music.
scared you think me too. I was gonna love it.
Dun dun dun. Okay, here we go.
Just the right amount of light, just the right amount of humidity for the parasite growing inside.
It's very dramatic.
It forces her to clamp down in a death bite,
That's great.
and Cordyceps reveals its gruesome nature.
I like the time lapse, but it's also so freaking disturbing. Like,
And is the ant still alive at this
no,
stage?
uh-uh. I don't think so because that's sprouting out like basically
After
through
3
its
weeks
brain.
of growth,
Mhm. I've
cordyceps are
seen
those
videos, like similar videos of the cordyceps infecting spiders,
Oh
and
yeah,
it's
we're gonna
like
get
to the point where, oh, am I jumping ahead?
no, no, no.
Because
Go keep
they'll
going.
be like fully infected, visibly affected, but still crawling to reach that like ideal place for the spores to be released, like on a high vantage place, like it's still moving.
Yeah, yeah. There's actually
infecting
cordyceps for
more
like
ants,
tons of insects out there. When
releasing
I was
more
doing this
spores,
research, I was just like,
infecting more ants,
I
infecting
couldn't handle it. Oh my
more
gosh,
and more and more ants.
and more and more, more. Some will get that reference, and some won't.
Wipe
More.
out entire ant colonies. But more than just ants are at risk.
Mm, scary music
Ew.
intensifies. Yeah, so disturbing, dude.
There are over 600 species of cordyceps spread across the world.
Yeah.
Most are found in jungles, where they prey on a whole host of victims.
Bruh. Hostile planet.
It feels like it.
Dude, like, wow, right? Like, I had I don't know what to say. Hold on. So this introduces like the concept of behavioral modification, right? And so there are various different types of parasites out there. Toxoplasmosis gondii, and hairworms are just a couple of honorable mentions that alter the host's behavior, making creatures act against their own self-preservation to suit an external organism.
Mhm. I think the taxoplasmosis, is that how you say it?
Toxoplasmosis gondii. It's like a mouthful, but yeah, I think a lot of
I
people know
think,
about that.
yeah, shout out to Vitality and JT and Paul for doing that documentary that got the conversation started. But I think that the taxoplasmosis is a really great example of how that these parasites affect and change the behavior, because they will infect a rodent, and against the rodents, you know,
Free
what's the
will.
free will? Yeah, like
Yeah.
for their own good. They like the parasite will make it run into an area where it's like vulnerable to cats, and uh, in order for the parasite to be transmitted to a cat,
Yeah.
and it's just
I
disgusting.
should have brought a video up of it, but I've seen one where like there's this like rat that is like literally jumping up and down and like taunting a cat, like
Yeah.
jumping on it and stuff, you know? And just for the record, most indoor cats don't have this because they're not hunters like country, cats are cats that stay outside that like actually hunt and stuff, you know. So
Mhm.
not everybody is like gonna be affected by it, like transmitting to the to the animal caretaker.
I was reading
Um,
like the statistics of people that are infected with that
it's
parasite.
really high.
It's high.
Yeah.
And I mean, we deworm our cats and our dogs and our cattle and everything. Like,
Mhm.
what's stopping us from
Deworming ourselves.
yeah, keeping
Yeah.
our
I
system,
honestly, I do a detox, a parasitic detox like every 6 months, and I'm
Mhm.
like pretty ritualistic about it. I never like spray off of it. And a lot of times what I'll do is like take a prophylactic type dose and I will take the tincture basically like once a day or something,
Mhm.
sometimes twice a day, not even for like a full parasitic detox, but also in the same token, it's like we shouldn't really be afraid of these things because we have power in the name of Jesus, right? So Um, I honestly believe we can tell them to be gone, and as long as we believe that Jesus will deliver it, they will be gone, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
So it's not just, like, having to use outside means for it, but, um, I call it double dosing faith and a tincture, you know what I mean? So, it's like,
Mhm.
you can never be too sure.
Mhm.
Um, so yeah, this whole thing it brings to mind like the hacker concepts, right? So parasites are not just a physical disease, but they are biological hackers, right? That interface directly with neurochemistry. And one can argue that consciousness and free will are deeply vulnerable to physical and chemical hijacking, blurring the line between self and the controller. And I have another little video, not video, but article here to share. And this particular fungus turns cicadas into zombies who procreate until they die. And this is going to matter later on in the presentation, and I'll probably refer to it again. But there's a particular point in here that I found fascinating. And again, everything will will come full
Mhm.
circle. Just like bear with us. So it says, when billions of cicadas emerged from the ground this spring, and this article was written in 2024. So, many will be the unwitting hosts of fungus that eats them from the inside out and turns them into sex crazed zombies. For the first time in 221 years, so this was like what, 3 years, 2 years ago now. Two cicada broods are expected to emerge simultaneously. Um, so let me skip down to the part where I think is super interesting. So it's called Massospora fungus. I probably said that wrong, like I do everything, but it's all good. um, and the fungus is waiting to infect them, taking over their bodies and keep them alive just enough to spread the disease to their mates during reproduction. So um, the interesting thing So it describes the fungus. It's chalky white. It says it's either like a middle school eraser or like a math teacher's chalk. So it's definitely noticeable that something's wrong with the backside of the cicada. So let's see. How does the fungus spread? Massospora is essentially the STD of the cicada world. Once infected with stage 1 of the disease, cicadas begin to spread the fungus to their mates. The sexual effect on males is particularly intriguing. Male cicadas begin to respond to other males, mating calls using the wing flick signals that are typically only used by females, making them highly attractive to cicadas of both sexes.
They're
Again,
making the cicadas gay.
yeah, they're making the cicadas gay.
If only I could do an Alex Jones voice.
I know, I can't either. So,
Well, we won't embarrass ourselves.
yeah, I know. I might. I do it at least once episode. I can tell you this episode, hopefully, like neither of us are gonna cry.
Maybe out of disgust.
Maybe.
Uh,
So there's a connection that I want to make with all of this in the ancient context, okay?
mm,
And we're told in the first book of Enoch, the Nephilim, the offspring of the Watchers, are often described as progenitors of unnatural corruption, hybrid genetics, and forbidden knowledge. So, um, I actually proposed the idea that biological anomalies, extreme parasitic designs, and weaponized nature are remnants or echoes of the pre-cataclysmic world where genetic boundaries were heavily breached. And it is a corruption of the flesh, right? And I want to discuss the concept that if these ancient entities sought to corrupt human and animal templates, biological infiltration via spores, parasitic vectors, or hybrid entities would be the ultimate stealth weapon to undermine free will from the inside out, right? So within the mind control matrix, we have the physical proof that mind control exists in the natural world with cordyceps and parasites. And also, we went over the description of MK Ultra and the ways that they were doing it, and those people obviously are
Spiritual
demonic.
warfare. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So, in introducing the Nephilim lore within the historical and mythological precedent of unnatural hybridized blueprints designed to subvert creation, we can speculate on how these themes reflect a deeper spiritual and biological battle for cognitive sovereignty. And so I want to ask everyone the question, is obviously nature simply evolving to ruthless survival strategies, or are we looking at footprints of an ancient engineered design? What do you think?
Do you think they ever stopped?
No, that's the thing. It's like we know that this stuff has been handed down, right, from like generation to generation. Their perversions and everything that they do to humankind. And so my thinking and my hypothesis, my theory allegedly is when they're doing MK Ultra, it's on a smaller scale of individuals that they are doing this on, right?
I think that's definitely true when it first started in the 50s, I believe. But
Mhm,
I have reason to think that they opened up their testing on the general public at some point, and
mhm,
maybe even like what we experienced in public school um, was even like the last stages of that.
mhm.
Yeah.
I absolutely agree with that. But you have to, or we all have to take an account that maybe that was just not enough, right? So, because not everybody goes to public school. There's
Mhm.
always the outliers. There's homeschool. There's certain things that they try to make everybody do. So, what could be out there that would infect allegedly an entire population of people? And the one thing that we know is they really push things like eating pork and shellfish, lobster, and stuff like that upon people, right? And, you know, I'm not trying to be like legalistic here or anything, but personally, um, totally don't eat those things. I've seen the videos. I know that the parasites reside in pork. I know that they're in the ocean's cockroaches, which are shrimp. And personally, I will not eat them. And there's some parasites even in pork that no matter how long you cook it for, the parasites do not die. They go
Mhm.
into your body. There's
And their
absolutely no way.
eggs.
They lay their eggs, yeah, and there's absolutely no freaking way um I am going to eat anything like that. And if you don't
You
believe me that parasites are within pork, just look up the video. I'm not gonna play it because it's, like, super
Please don't.
disturbing, but look up the video pouring Coke, like Coca-Cola, on pork, and then get back at me because mm-mm, nope. Nope. Yeah, mm-mm,
I think
not
there is
doing it.
a reason in reality that it is written that those animals are unclean to eat. Like it
Yeah,
wasn't just like a frivolous, like spiritual rule.
yeah,
It
well,
was
not
based in
only that,
reality.
pork is like pigs, are so close to, like, human genetics. One
Yeah, we
can
could go
say
into
that
that.
they might, actually be humans that were transformed into swine. How do we
Mhm.
know that, when the unclean spirits were put into the swine, that these weren't actually people that got transformed into, you know what I'm saying, into pigs or something? This is like where my mind goes. They have human eyeballs, they have human molars. When you look at their hands, their claws or whatever, it resembles a human hand. Like,
Let alone the fact that
bruh,
like we can surgically implant their organs in a person and it would
yeah.
be
There's a
viable.
very high chance of less likely to reject, that organ, and
Mhm.
yeah, I'm
It's
good.
disgusting.
Yeah, I can't, Mm-mm. 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 Holy Spirit,
Oh, we
backspace my
forgot
thought.
that.
I'm Holy Spirit
Wait.
backspace that thought. Get your merch at the CDM shop. Okay. So, wow. I want to reiterate here that mind control really doesn't require like a sci-fi ray gun, but in nature it's achieved quietly through chemistry, spores, and neural hacking, which is why I feel confident to make the leap into ancient esoteric concepts like what we are presenting here today. And specifically, I want you, I'm going to pull it back here to scripture and think of the Tower of Babel specifically. We've got verse 6 in Genesis 11 that says, "And the Lord said, indeed, the people are one, and they all have one language, and this is what they begin to do. Now, nothing that they propose to do will be withheld from them." So, how are they one? The evidence I presented thus far, I believe, gives us the answer. They have some type of, parasitic hive mind, basically. And
That's weird.
that
That came
is
to
how,
my mind.
yeah, that's how they are one. They're working in unison together. And the crazy thing about this whole story of the Babel, and I don't know if people actually like realize this when they're reading it, but a brick would sometimes fall when they're building it, right? And it would hit a person and kill the person. But these people lamented over the fact that they lost a brick and it was destroyed versus the human life, which is just so prevalent in even our world today. Like, this is what people do. They care more about the thing than human life. And it's just so sad to me. Like, it hurts my heart. I'm not crying this episode. So,
I'm too disturbed to cry
yeah.
on this
Um,
topic.
yeah, it's one of those things. So I want to get into really quick the first book of Enoch, and specifically we have chapters 7 and 8 that mention that the entities taught humanity crafts, metallurgy, cosmetics, and forbidden knowledge of the cutting of roots, right? Or sometimes it's translated as the dividing of roots and plants. So, in ancient esoteric interpretations, this wasn't just about harmless farming or basic herbalism. It refers to pharmakia, which we've got over that definition in a prior episode. The deep, forbidden manipulation of biological elements, grafting and altering the fundamental building blocks of nature. So, we get into the concept and the splicing concept with root cutting, and it's linked to the ancient genetic tampering. And the text states that the Watchers didn't just corrupt humans; they messed with the animals, the plants, reptiles, fish, creating hybrid blueprints that broke natural boundaries. So, with the cordyceps, the parasites, as the living archetype of so-called nature's blueprints of hijacking. If the organism, like cordyceps, can surgically rewrite an ant's brain's chemistry to climb a specific height, lock its mandibles, and act as a vegetative incubator, is that just random evolution, or does it look like a designed weapon? I
Maybe
think
this is a good place to talk about examples in modern day where we are genetically modifying and creating bioweapons such as ticks in America.
Oh,
I have a
yeah.
lot to say about ticks.
Yeah, we can definitely get into that. I know I'm gonna be having a another episode on a different channel discussing like mutations, bugs, and plants that are nephilitic.
Mm,
So, yeah,
that's going to
let's
be
hear
such
what
a good
you
one.
yeah, let's hear what you got.
Well, I grew up I'm from New England, so Lyme disease is a very hot topic for me my whole life. I got it when I was little, and it stays with you forever. And I learned that they genetically modified these ticks off the coast of Connecticut near Old Lyme, and that's where they got the name. And
Mm,
they've just like slowly have released it these ticks all over the country. Like you hear rumors on Twitter that farmers are finding these boxes of ticks and they're
Oh
like in the
god, I haven't heard
countryside.
about any of that.
No,
Ugh.
yeah, I've heard
No.
that like
I
last
try to
year or
stay
so.
I try to stay out I mean, I have heard, them talking about, like, the tick people getting deer tick bites or something, and it's infecting them with something that's not Lyme disease, it's something
Mhm.
different. I have
Are
heard
you
about that epidemic
are
going
you
on recently.
thinking of the way that they're making people allergic to red meat?
Yeah, that's it. That's the
Mhm.
one. Yeah, sorry, drink water. Water.
Ugh, yeah, it's just so
It's so
disturbing to
freaking
think about.
disturbing, dude. Like,
Mhm. Like,
I can't.
they're waging war against us, and no one even really knows about it. But,
Yeah.
I have, like, a personal experience where I swear, like, um, a tick, like, implanted, like, intrusive thoughts in my head when I found it on my body.
Oh,
So I was having, like, a great day gardening outside and just enjoying myself, and right before going to the grocery store, I decided to go into my woods to clean up some trash, and immediately, once I got to the grocery store, I was pissed off. Everything my husband spent was just made me irate, and that's just so unlike me, so I noticed.
yeah.
And in the moment, I was just angry, but when I got home, I discovered, I had a tick bite on my arm, and as soon as I took it off, like, those intrusive thoughts just, like, left, and that's just, like, a personal experience I can't,
Yeah.
prove, but
Yeah. I mean, that's like all we can do with anecdotal evidence, right? It's
Mhm.
personal experiences, but it's like I can't discount what you're telling me with all of this other stuff that we've been
Yeah.
looking at today. It's like, and I again, we're going to go back to the cicada one here in a second,
Mhm.
but it's just like, man, because it's going to drive a couple points home, like the erratic behavior of certain people in the world, right? And um, it's just like, so the question still remains, like with the root cutting parallels, the parasites and fungal mind control agents are not normal parts of the ecosystem, in my
Mhm.
opinion, right? And they are living remnants of echoes of a chaotic pre-flood biological network. The literal roots that were cut and spliced in antiquity to subvert free will. This is, I think, how they achieved the one mind in Babel, like I was talking about, right? And so I have another quick article over here that actually discusses could parasitic fungus evolve to control humans? And the parallels that they draw, right, is bruh. Like
Mhm.
basically they're saying yes but no. And of course they look at it through the lens of evolution and billions of years, like garbage that they try to throw.
Millions and billions.
Billions and millions. It makes me think of Dr. Evil. Billions of years. I can't with these people. But it's like, um, so the ant, it says the ant no longer in control of its body, crawls away from its colony, hangs perilously on a leaf, and waits to die as a fungus consumes its body. Emerges from its head and releases spores into the air. These are like grim little Christmas ornaments out in the forest. Like, it's like so dramatic, but it's like so true though. And I guess this premise, actually they based a television show and a TV game on it,
Oh,
TV, a video game on it called The Last of Us, which I've never heard of, I've never watched. I had no idea that this was like a thing. Um, so I learned something new going into this, like, because I don't really like watch a whole lot of TV or anything, but
can I just interject right
yeah,
there? Since that
absolutely.
came up, I asked Grok to provide a list of all the movies and shows that had mind control, parasite, and fungus as the
Right.
theme, and it spit
Let's
30
go.
of them out in like 10 seconds.
Yeah, do you have
Yeah.
that list?
Yeah.
Let's
Yeah.
go.
I can pull it up.
Yeah, let's do that before I read what they're,
Okay. So, like you said, The Last of Us,
mhm.
that's about the mutated cordyceps. Spreads
Oh, is it?
globally.
See? I didn't
Mhm.
even know that. I didn't know that. Let's go.
The girl with all the gifts.
Wait, I
All
think it
another
was
fungal infection.
yeah, I think actually I may have seen that one. I think it
Re-
was like a Netflix only thing.
That was 2016. It came out.
Yeah, it was a long
Uh,
time ago.
Matanago, also
Mm.
known as Attack of the Mushroom People. That's from
Oh,
1963. Shipwreck survivors on an island eat local mushrooms that transform them into aggressive fungus people.
oh,
Gaia 2021, a massive ancient fungus in a South African forest. Parasites. I didn't know that was a word. Humans using infected hosts to spread and control others. But in the earth, super deep, the hollow, the invasion, and then for the parasites examples specifically, you have the puppet masters, the slither,
Slither.
shivers, brain damage. All of these were like after 2010, but some
Of
of them are from
course.
like the 80s,
Yeah.
and some of them go back to like the 70s. So this has like been a very
Yeah, I bet you Invasion of the Body
repeating.
Snatchers is on that list.
Oh yeah, that I think that's what The Last of Us was based off of, right?
Oh,
I
no,
think
I don't know. I'm just like remembering because I have
that's
seen
what The
that
Last of Us.
movie like a long time ago. I used to be really big on like horror flicks and stuff like that. And if there was that episode that I did with Connor on the main character, we like literally talked about the vampirism in like the parasitic worms that turn people into vampires. It's like,
Mhm.
and they were controlling them by a hive mind, right? So it's like this stuff is out there, and we all know that they put truth in movies and TV shows more than they do anything else, right? So, um, so the one thing that I wanted to point out, on here, so, um, where was it? Oh, here it is. The first signs of infection are erratic and abnormal behavior. Scientists think that the parasite takes physical control of its host by growing fungal cells around the brain that hijack the insects and at this point, allegedly a human's nervous system to control its muscles. It's unclear exactly how it does this, whether by releasing chemical or altering a bug's DNA. And
Doesn't it like just spread? Like spores all spread from within the body itself. Is that
yeah,
what it
it
is?
does. Mhm. And it says, let's see, when they enter the bloodstream, fungi present symptoms similar to bacterial infection. For some people with healthy immune systems, fighting them off is typically not an issue, but many are not so lucky. The CDC estimates that 30 to 60% of patients infected with the fungus have died, although the possibility they had underlying health conditions makes it difficult to determine how pivotal a role Candida auris plays, which is like another type of fungal infection. So, they asked about this, highlighting here, not mentioning it because of this. But they said, they are worried about it, emerging and infecting the immunocompetent. Sure. So, um, and I can't remember, I think it's like in the very last article, um, they bring up and I'm reading, and it talks about how there are certain parts of the DNA code missing when they try to figure these things out and like where they came from and stuff and what they're capable of. And I find it so interesting the fact that we're discussing gene splicing and part of the DNA would be missing. It would be combined with something else. So
It's
it just
insane.
like solidly proves allegedly my point. Speculative. Okay, so
Yeah.
da, da, da. I'm just like referring back to my notes here, so just bear with me. So um with the root cutting parallel that I just went over and how it's like the literal network of roots that were cut and spliced in antiquity to subvert free will. To me, this obviously is the connection, the Nephilim connection to cognitive control. And so the nature of the Nephilim, we know in their lore, they weren't just big, they were existential threat to the biosphere because of their very existence, fundamentally disrupting the template of creation. So we have the internal versus external control. mind control parasites operate on a micro level. They don't need a physical leash. They change who the host is from the inside out, right? And so the ultimate goal of the root cutting corruption described in Enoch was the dismantling of sovereignty, erasing the boundary between the controller and the controlled. Whether through ancient genetic hybridization or microscopic fungal hijackers, the mechanism is the same, hijacking a vessel to serve a foreign intelligence. So I know that we're dealing with like alternative history and fringe biology. This is just an investigative look into what the ancients were actually trying to warn us about regarding biological tampering. Um, and with that being said, I want to discuss how the jabs have male and female DNA in them and how it causes confusion in the body and the opposite sex, right? And so I want to state this section is speculation, and I will be saying allegedly a lot. Um, we have in modern biotechnology that meets ancient root cutting ideas, right? And so basically, ancient splicing into modern inoculations. So, biotechnology is not completely a new invention, but it's a continuation of the ancient root cutting and genetic blending attributed to the Watchers in First Enoch. So, in this view, the ancient forbidden arts involved crossing boundaries that nature kept separate, the species mixing chromosomal alteration. And proponents of this theory, me, allegedly argue that modern medical interventions utilize similar conceptual frameworks, taking the biological components from various sources, such as human cell lines, animal tissue, or altered genetic material, and recombining them. So, the mechanics of this theory causes cellular confusion. So, in this specific fringe narrative, the inclusion of the heterogeneous biological materials, often referred to in these circles as mixed male and female cellular substrates or fetal cell lines used in manufacturing, is allegedly believed by theorists to act as an energetic or biological disruptor. And I want to go back and remind everybody of the cicadas that we were reading about earlier, right? How the male imitated the female, flicking its wings to attract other males. And then that's how their STD is spread, right?
Mhm.
And so either way, it's a sickness that goes into the larger population, corrupting their mind, their body, and their spirit, right? Because something like that in an inoculation could theoretically allegedly do the same thing, right?
Mhm.
And so my theory posits that the human body operates on a precise template of individual sovereignty and genetic identity. So, according to this, introducing foreign, cross sex, or multi source cellular fragments into the physical vessel creates a form of internal confusion. And the behavioral and psychological shifts helps argue that this confusion manifests as it is an assault on natural polarity, gender identity, and hormonal stability, which aligns with the overarching theme of dismantling father's original creation. And I have like a little anecdote about certain populations and where they get their gender specific jabs at. And the reason why I say that is because like anybody that's done any research into um, inoculations knows that there has been two particular people that have been their the fetal cell lines have been cloned over and over again. There's one male and one female, allegedly, allegedly, and I know that certain areas will get what I believe, again, this is just me theorizing, is the males will get the inoculations with like the female fetal cell lining, and the females will get the male fetal cell lining, and introducing that other gender corruption within their body, right? And they do, I think, this on purpose, depending on like where the people live, allegedly. Um, anyway, so that's I just want everybody, like, I know people know what I'm referring to. I'm not gonna like put it out there and actually say it. So if you can't like read between the lines, just I'm sure everybody's smart enough to get what they're picking up what I'm putting down, right? So
I am.
yeah, so it's just like there's proof in nature that it's happening, and we know that the enemy really likes to copy the things that were done. And it's not so much that this is naturally happening in nature. It's a corruption from the original design, and
Mhm.
it's something that they've just continued throughout the years. And this way, they can make it happen on a grander scale of any type of form of like mind control, and the like, you know what I mean? Because
Mhm.
if you think about these types of people that we're talking about, they are on a very grand scale of like being brainwashed. And it's almost like the reactions are so hostile that it cannot be natural. So what is behind it? And that's where I come in with my hypothesis here of parasites, fungus, and genetic manipulation, right? So,
Oh, absolutely.
yeah. Um, so I have one more article here to share. The mind controlling parasitic worms are missing genes found in every other animal. So these are hair worms. I'm sorry if y'all are squeamish, don't look. But these are tiny hairs that are responsible for cell movement, filtration, and sensing that every other known animal has. In a world of bizarre animals, hair worms are some of the strangest parasitic worms that manipulate the behavior of their hosts in what's sometimes called mind control. So there's a study in the Journal of Current Biology that reveals another strange trait shared by different hairworm species. They are missing about 30% of genes that researchers expected them to have. What's more, the missing genes are responsible for the development of cilia, the hair like structures that present in at least some of these cells of every other animal known. So, this goes back into the genetic manipulation. Like, why is it missing? What would this creature have been had that not been messed with? You know what I mean? What was this
Mhm.
original design? That is like my biggest question. Maybe we won't know until we're judged and pray as Abba in the kingdom, right? Um, so it says hair worms are found all over the world. They look like skinny strands of spaghetti, a couple of inches long. Their simple bodies hint at their parasitic lifestyle. They have no excretory, respiratory, or circulatory systems, and they spend almost all their entire lives inside the bodies of other animals. I'm going to use they're using one of the coolest things, but it's like, is it though? Maybe the thing that they are most known for is that they can affect the behavior of their hosts and make them do things that they wouldn't do otherwise. So it just ties everything in together, right? It says there are a few hundred species of freshwater hairworms. Their eggs hatch in water, and the hairworm larva gets eaten by tiny water dwelling predators, like the mayfly larva, which in turn get eaten by a bigger land dwelling predators like crickets. After growing into adulthood inside their new host bodies, the hairworms manipulate the host's behavior, causing them to jump into water. There, the worm swims out of their host's rear ends and seek out mates, knotting themselves together to begin the cycle anew. There are also about 5 species of hairworms that live in marine environments and parasitize water dwelling creatures like lobsters, but it's not clear if those ones also have host manipulation capabilities. There's no pressure for the worms to get back in the water since the hosts already live there. As strange as hairworms' behavior is, the research interest in the animals has more to do with their DNA. We set out to sequence their genomes because nothing like them has ever been sequenced before at that level. The goal was to produce those genomes and eventually use them to understand the evolutionary relationship between hairworms and other kinds of animals. And so they go on to state what they found was very surprising, was that both hairworm genomes were missing about 30% of a set of genes that are expected to be present across basically all groups of animals. And so,
So other parasites that are naturally occurring would have those genes. Is that what that's saying?
that is what I am. Yes, that was my conclusion also. But it just kind of pulls all of this together, right? In the sense of the mind control, the root cutting, and the corruption of Father's creation.
Mhm.
So, um, we have so far in the presentation have proven that biological subversion of the mind and body is entirely possible in the natural world. Natural again, used loosely. Within the Nephilim lore, we've established that altering blueprints, splicing roots, and corrupting the flesh was the original playbook of the ancient anomalous entities. And with modern interventions, we can conclude that modern landscape of inoculations, biological modifiers, and synthetic medicine represents the final phase of this ancient agenda, moving from a macro level hybridization to micro level internal reprogramming of human sovereignty. So I just want to connect back to the central motif here that whether it is a fungus hijacking an ant's nervous system or cellular materials altering biological harmony, the underlying mechanism is always about usurping free will and rewriting the original template. So if we take this ancient framework from the text like Enoch, where the core mechanism of control was the splicing of roots and the altering of biological blueprints, it forces us to ask the bigger conceptual question about where we are in our modern world. We're not talking about medical advice or giving health directives here. This is purely an exploration of motifs, philosophy, and fringe theory. If you look at modern speculative forums and alternative research spaces, people are drawing a direct parallel between those ancient myths and today's biotechnology that I did. The argument that we're making is fascinatingly consistent with the ancient texts. I believe that just as the ancient entities tampered with original design using root cutting, modern technological and medical systems represent a continuation of that exact same philosophy. The theory is that introducing complex biological agents or engineered components into a human vessel creates a form of internal disruption, as stated before, what they interpret as a modern day echo of hybridizing and breaking natural boundaries. So, whether you look at it through the lens of a cordyceps fungus rewriting an insect's mind, the ancient text describing the corruption of the flesh, um, it, the result is usually it's always the same, right? An external force trying to overwrite Father's creation. So it's up to you guys to decide, are we just a wild are these just like wild sci-fi ideas, or are we watching an ancient playbook play out in real time? And I would like to know what you guys think in the comments. So let us know what you think about this.
Yeah,
Um
thanks.
that yeah, do you have what you got for me? Because my brain is like
No, you did such a great job, like, concluding that and summarizing it all just then. Uh, so we're not giving, like, medical advice, of course, but would
right.
you want to go over, like, natural, plants and, like, options that have historically been used as, like, antiparasitics?
Yeah.
To leave it on a positive note, at least.
Yeah. Yeah, we can, yeah, for sure. So we've got wormwood, clove, and black walnut tincture is like
Mhm.
the one that I use.
That's
And
what I use
it's
too.
always, yeah, it's always worked really well for me. Again, this is not medical advice. We're just giving our own opinion and anecdotal experiences,
Yeah.
if you will. And I'll do that for about 14 days, and I'll do like 3 what would the dropperfuls, like 3 times a day, like 2 of them
Mhm.
in each like little serving. And then at the end of that, I will do like a activated charcoal to like sweep out any of the what I call the dead bodies that that may have accumulated. But I try to I don't eat anything that's really parasitic anymore. Like I used
Mhm.
before I woke up and read scripture for myself. I ate pork and seafood and all of that stuff, I love crab and everything. So, yeah, I just stay away from that stuff now, and I don't have to worry about it. And after I did, like, my very first parasite detox, I actually made my cravings for sugar stopped.
Oh,
So,
nice.
yeah, that was, like, a big thing. Not that I was, like, wholly addicted to it, but I did have, like, some intense cravings sometimes for sugar, and Um, I've been I've been able to get rid of that. So, I mean, I do have some every once in a while. I'm only human. But it's not like at the scale of what it was before. So,
Mhm. Yeah, for me, like, castor oil has been the most effective, and, surprisingly, I don't know if I'm allowed to say this, but nicotine has also been proven as an anti-parasitic, and I
allegedly.
allegedly, and, yeah, 2, protocols I've taken with, personally obvious, results,
Yeah.
and
I used to sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
oh, it's okay.
Continue. I was just gonna say I used to be a big smoker. And so I personally I wouldn't be able to go the nicotine route. I know that you could get like just nicotine only, but I've kind of come to the understanding with ABBA that I am not to smoke those things. So,
Mhm.
um,
Yeah, I was
yeah.
actually learning, I don't know if it's true, but, cigarettes, like the additives they add to it and, like, it has it
It's
introduces, like,
addictive.
food to the parasites that actually can use for to the
Oh,
parasite's advantage, so cigarettes aren't the healthiest way of getting nicotine in the first place, so
yeah, that makes
I
sense.
could be wrong there, but
Yeah, allegedly.
allegedly.
Allegedly. Oh, man, this was great. I enjoyed this talk today. I know it's like very fringe and out there, but it's something so like the whole inoculation connection has been something that has like been on my mind for like a really long time because like I'm one of those people like, well, what if, and I was able to draw those like parallels myself just by like digging into the research of like how that stuff and everything was made. So it's just like it's feels good to be able to actually come out and, like, talk to somebody about this stuff without, you thinking I'm crazy, but it's totally fine if everyone else does, I don't care. So, we had a great
I've accepted
conversation
that.
today. Yeah.
I've already accepted that.
Yeah. Yeah, we presented a lot of good stuff today, and,
Mhm.
it was a great talk, and, I can't wait to do it again, hopefully
Absolutely.
soon. Yeah.
I wonder
So
what our next topic will be.
I have some ideas. I do. I'll run them by you, and,
Nice.
yeah.
Well,
Okay,
thank
so
you so much, Wendy.
thank you for being here. I love you, sis,
I
and,
love you too.
it's been great, and we need to catch up again real soon, and, I pray everyone has a wonderful and blessed day.
Thanks,
Bye.
guys. Bye.